Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Cassie here. Today I have a tips for new designers kind of video. I get asked these same questions all the time, and like people message me on like IG. They're always like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start. I think I'm interested in UI and UX, but do you have recommendations on the best thing to do? And so I decided to make a video for it, so then that way you guys don't need to keep messaging me and you get the answers that you want. All right, let's just get started. So my very first tip for anyone who's interested in getting into UI and UX design is to really understand what it is. Like, do your research, understand the whole spectrum of it, understand what's the difference between UI and UX, understand what someone who's working in that industry, what their daily jobs would entail. Make sure it's something you're really interested in, not just because of working in tech and like the tech lifestyle or whatever. If that's the reason why you're going into it, then you might end up not liking it at all, because it is a lot of problem solving. Some people message me and they're like, oh, I think I kind of like this, but like I don't really know what this is. And I'm like, why are you asking me how to do it then if you don't even know what it is? Like, you need to understand the difference between UI UX and how they come together, and how designers like us work with other people, because it's a really people orientated job. You're talking all the time. So yeah, number one is just do your research into this industry and this field and see if it really is truly for you. My second tip would be, once you know that that is what you're interested in doing, start surrounding yourself with a bunch of design. So what I mean by this is, you know, start paying attention to like the apps that you're using, the websites you're browsing, you know, like what you like about them, what you don't like about them, any areas where you like hit pain points and you're like, ugh, why couldn't they redesign this better? And start to watch YouTube videos, you know, read articles, just do anything you can to kind of just absorb more information into your brain. I know that it can be very overwhelming because there could be like a whole ton of stuff all over the internet and you don't know where to start. I would recommend you download this. It's like a Chrome extension. It's called MUZLI, M-U-Z-L-I, and I'll put the name here. I'll leave the link in the description box below, but it's essentially a free Chrome extension that pulls in a whole bunch of different articles from like design blogs, tech industries, Envision, and it consolidates it all onto your tabs. Every time you open a new tab, you have this landing page that just shows you a whole bunch of different articles and blogs that are being written day to day, and you can pick and choose which design blogs to follow. It's just a really good way to like start off your day before you like really ease into the workday. I like to just spend like I don't know, like half an hour or something, kind of just like browsing through what's new and what's trending, and that's a really good way to stay up to date and learn more about what's going on in the design world right now. It's also really good to look at DRIBBLE and BEHANCE. BEHANCE has a lot of projects that are laid out in a way where it kind of takes you through their design process, and if you're really into like app design and like website design, even advertisement design, there's so much stuff on Behance. And then DRIBBLE is more for like quick snapshots of UI elements that might be inspiring as well. Like, they're both really good to use. So just start browsing on there and start like bookmarking things that you like or things that you would want to create one day. My next tip is the hardest one. Okay, my next step is to just start. And what I mean by starting is just start somewhere, start something. Find a little project to work on. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. You could be like, okay, let me just design a website for a clothing company. Like, it could be as simple as that. Just give yourself a small little project to work on, because honestly, the only way you really understand UI and UX is when you actually put it into action. You could read all the articles in the world, watch all the videos in the world, but if you're not practicing it, you're just not going to absorb it. It's going to go in through one ear and then out the other. So my biggest recommendation is to just start working on a little project. And if you find that it's too hard to come up with your own project, what you could always do is is take an app that already exists and redesign it. Redesign it the way you want it to work. That is also a really good method. Once you start doing that, you're gonna start understanding how the structure of an interface is laid out and like how all the pages are connected, because once you start creating it, you're gonna be like, okay, if I click this next button, where does it go to? It makes you to start thinking about how everything in a app is actually laid out, and the site structure of it is really important to understand. And I know that I never thought about that until I started creating an app by myself, and I was like, oh, I never really thought about that. If I click this and I go to this page, how do I get back to the home page? Like, I didn't really think about those things before. Or I put a button here and I was like, oh right, but where does this button lead to, and how would I go through this entire flow but still be able to return back to that very first page? Like, it's all just something your mind isn't used to thinking about. So once you start working on those projects, you're gonna train your mind to start thinking about digital products and the interface a little bit more in depth. So my third tip is, when you're a young designer, you're kind of inspired by all these like beautiful UI elements and visual designs that you're just like, wow, it's so beautiful, but you don't really know how to create it yet for yourself, or you don't know the tools that you're using that well yet. So it's kind of daunting because, you know, you don't know where to start, right? So another tip I would give for a young designer is just to replicate designs that you really like. So for example, you're browsing on Behance or something, you see this really nice app with this like really unique visual style that is just like right in your alley. Instead of creating your own app, what you can do is actually try and recreate the exact same thing that person made. And it's a really good practice because as you're creating it, you're going to be learning these new tools that you're using, and it's just easier to follow along versus be like, here, do anything you want. But this way you actually have some sort of a guide to follow. And after time of like replicating other styles and other people's work over and over again, you're gonna start to have like a better understanding of the tools to use. And on top of that, you'll also start to develop your own style, because now you're gonna have the tools to be able to create all kinds of different looks, and then eventually you'll be able to just like think of something yourself. And then my third tip is just to repeat this process. It's just the same thing over and over again. You just keep surrounding yourself with design articles, you keep reading more about new things, learning about new tools, and then you find little projects to work on, little practice things, nothing too big, and then just work on it day by day a little bit, or copy another designer's visual style to try and learn that kind of visual style, because there are different trends that happen all the time within design. Before you know it, you will have a way better understanding of what the hell you're doing, and you will be able to eventually create your own projects that aren't just a copy of other people's stuff, and then that will lead into a portfolio. So yeah, those are all the tips I have for getting started in UI and UX design. I hope that was helpful for you guys. If you need me to clarify anything, or if you have any additional questions, just leave it in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!